Yeah, hi, welcome everyone to today's seminar. It's your lunchtime, I guess, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., right, usually. So thanks for your time in joining this call. I'm going to share my screen now before I move on to talking more. Just give me a while. Right, so just let us know if my screen is not visible, right? So I'll start now. Firstly, this is jointly organized by the Smart Nation Singapore and Cognizant team. Thank you very much, Smart Nation, for inviting me to this talk. Right. So as what Nicholas mentioned, I've been in this industry, IT and healthcare, life science industry for the past 12 years. So yeah, I'm in my 30s now. And then for me, I'm pretty much will be sharing what I know for the healthcare trend from 2020 onwards. As you know, healthcare right now is very exciting because not just of the pandemic, because what we can achieve with technology, with 5G in the next few years. Right. So just bear with me. I'm going to share 2 slides about Cognizant. For those people that doesn't know what Cognizant does and what Cognizant is, or those that are planning to join Cognizant in this call, we have more than 290,000 employees globally. Right. In last year's revenue, we got about 16.7 billion, which is a very good amount, if you ask me. And we are among the global 2,000 in the Forbes rating. Right. So we can see on the bottom right-hand screen, we got 4.9 billion from healthcare, and that is second to financial services. So if you ask me, this amount will keep growing for the next few years. And what Cognizant does is, we are founded in 1994, and our headquarters is in the US. We have 100 over development and delivery centers, and we have 30 of the top global pharma companies with us as a client in Cognizant. So we do mainly end-to-end servicing and delivery, right? If today a client wants something, has a business problem in the technology side, we come in as a consulting service and we help to implement in the end stage as well, from project execution to delivery. That's what we usually do. You can ask more questions and feel free to ask any questions you may have in the chat box. Yeah. All right. So what is actually healthcare right now is going to change beyond recognition, right? We have a lot of technologies that are uniting to transform the way we treat patients and develop new cures, right? From not just AI and robotics, but from big data and virtual reality devices like Google Glasses, and some of the connected devices. Now that everyone has a mobile phone, I'm sure that we can make use of this technology to make healthcare a more versatile application. Right. So for those who, I think everyone will know this, but just let me bring you through what is really healthcare. Is consists of 2 main things, right? Hospitals, doctors, as well as drug manufacturers. So for Singapore, we have the polyclinics in the hospital as part of the healthcare providers, as well as the other public hospitals, right? For drug manufacturers, just name a few, we have Zurich Pharma, we have Pfizer as well, as you may know, for the COVID-19 jab. And yeah, so this is actually healthcare, as simple as that. In the healthcare industry in Singapore, right, is as of the latest numbers, is growing to 21.4 billion as of last year. It's a 9% rise over the previous year. And by 2029, we will be doubling up to about 49.4 billion. So that is an estimate about 15 to 20% increase year on year, right? The current trends for healthcare is the need for patient-centric approach. What does it mean by that? I'll bring you through on my later slides, right? And smooth communication amongst doctors, patients, and other concerned people. Why is this important? It's because we can then deliver the more correct, precise healthcare and medication to the patients. All right. I'm no doctor, but what I'm sharing is experience that I've heard from healthcare providers for sure. Right. And of course, how IT plays a part, I will also be sharing that across in some of the slides. And global initiatives wise, in Singapore, government is investing a lot in digital health to improve the standard of healthcare services and healthcare treatment, I would say, right? And what's around the corner for the next few years will be definitely, I think it's already ongoing, digitization of healthcare records, or you can know it as EMR, electronic medical records, mobile apps, and also the influence of big data and cloud computing. Because most of the applications now are mostly on cloud. And why is it on cloud? Is to able to deliver this service amongst anywhere in the world. Because 5G, 4G is going to be globally found, so it's not a challenge to get internet in time to come. All right, so I just want to engage you guys on your knowledge of healthcare concept. All right, I want to keep this an engaging session. So maybe in the chat box you can type some healthcare concept that you think of or you're curious about, and yeah, Nicholas can get back to me on that, right? So Nicholas, I can't see the chat box. Let me know if there's any questions, yeah. And yeah, give it a minute or two just to think about the healthcare concept that you have, right? So for me, the last 1 year is definitely COVID-19, right? Pandemic, as well as medical equipment and devices that can help us on our daily basis, and of course the ongoing fight against cancer. Okay, moving on. The next few slides will be like a task discussion. We will look at how each concept has evolved directly or indirectly as a result of IT transformation. Referring to this slide, yeah, how is IT helping in the fight against coronavirus? Right, it's not just to deal with coronavirus, but I think coronavirus has helped a lot of companies and a lot of individuals, be more techy and help them in their daily lives. For example, without e-commerce technology, right, we'll basically be staying home. A lot of people are doing a lot of online shopping now, so I guess that is one of the more essential things we are doing nowadays, right? Whether it's to buy our food, like restaurants and cafes, as well as essential items like toilet paper, snacks, all from e-commerce, right? And of course, delivery service as a food delivery service as as an IT helping us, I think that is also very essential, right? Of course, we want this to end soon. I think by next Monday, hopefully we can all go out. But as of now, it's really helpful that we have such mobile apps that's helping us stay at home and be safe. All right. Third point is staying at home while staying connected. I think, for example, all the video collaboration tools, to name a few right now, we're using Zoom. Without all these tools, we will not be connected, not just for work, but we can also use it for, wine, just casual sessions with your friends, right? So these video collaboration tools are very important that is helping us right now. And then for big data and AI, this is more of the business side of things, right? How are they helping us understand the development of the virus? Things like trace together. The government just mentioned, we are able to trace clusters within a very short period of time. This is definitely thanks to the development of their trace together app. And of course, those that have kids and those that are still studying as adults for your masters or part-time bachelors, classrooms going digital is definitely something that we will not be stopping just here, right? Because this also means that we can get lecturers from overseas teaching us on their specialization. So this is how IT actually helped us during this period and onwards to come. Next thing is really augmented reality and virtual technologies, right? So this will consist of things like, for example, today we'll go to a hospital and you are on dehydration or you have some injury. Currently, 40% of the IVs, intravenous injections in hospitals, right, where you see your nurse poke you a few times and it still doesn't go into the right vein, right? That is a pain in the neck. So what does augmented reality can do right now is that they can help the nurses wear a device through their eyes, and they can see and visualize the vein, and this helps them to not miss the vein on the first stick, right? So in the market, it shows 40% of these nurses can go wrong in going through the wrong vein. So with this augmented reality, nurses can find veins 3.5 times easier And I think that would be really helpful for those who, is afraid of injections and needles, right? And of course, 5G, right? I think many of you would have heard in the future when 5G is rolled out, in Singapore, we can engage surgeons from other regions and other countries to help us perform operations in Singapore. This not just to save time, but I think it can save a lot of cost as well, because traveling for those doctors should be very expensive. So not only we are able to perform more efficient, but more cost-efficient surgeries, but I think we can perform in time as well. We don't need to wait for them to come to Singapore to do it. So that saves precious amount of time, especially for emergency situations. Of course, here they show that they did share that a lot of people have trouble sleeping, or if you happen to have a lot of caffeine, coffee after 9 p.m. and you can't get to sleep, right? This virtual reality headset will help you get to sleep easier, right? Because, for example, nowadays we are using our phone to hear rain sounds and ocean sounds. Right now, maybe a headset might help you visualize to sleep better. Of course, for sure, VR can also be used to train medical staff. How do we do that? Because the VR can visualize the human body, right, without taking any X-ray. So with that said, radiation will be avoided as well, and that's a good thing for us human bodies. I think this is the third case and the last case that we are deep diving here. What AI actually means for us is that, for example, other than things that are stated here, earlier cancer detection with AI is possible, right? So I think the government might intend in the future to deploy AI in screenings and diagnostic tests and blood work to test for cancer. Because cancer in every patient may work differently. So we using genomics, also meaning DNA analyzing, it could help detect and prevent cancer in the early stages or even before. Give you another example. I worked with a client before, and they are looking at preventing cancer before it even happens. How to do that is that they used AI and data analytics to analyze the human DNA. So just to let you know, curiously, for those that are curious, a human DNA can consist of terabytes of data. And what that means that one human, if they have terabytes of data, when there's many humans, a lot of data needs to be processed. And that's where our AI, data analysts and data scientists can help us in detecting those human that is more prone to having certain cancer, and we can prevent it from happening. Because cancer is all about prevention. Okay, and then this slide really shows about technology versus non-technology in the healthcare and life science space, right? So for today, you guys know on dentists, physicians, TCMs, nurse, and animal veterinarians and pharmacists. But in the technology side of things, where Cognizant hires is mainly on data scientists, data analytics. We also do robotic process automation because, very simple. Anything that should be done twice or are done more than twice should be automated, right? So people can concentrate on doing or learning other things rather than keep doing the routine work every day, right? So in Cognizant, we do help our clients to make sure that they focus on what is more needed in the human touch rather than just doing routine work every day. I think that's the joy in my job currently, right? Okay. I think this is more for those people who plans to join this industry, right? So for me, my own experience is that the next 10 years or even more, healthcare would definitely be one of the growing things in the industry. And for me, my passion in joining this industry is because it really helps the humankind, right? Whether to help us prevent certain illnesses, or you can see things progressing well for the COVID situation. Yeah, it's all part of my passion, right? So some skills that might come in handy, I would say very important is communication skills, right? These are actually to talk to your teammates, to talk to your clients for me. and as well as, of course, coding skills and technical skills, right? So for those that are on this path, rest assured, this industry definitely needs people like you, right? So do feel free to reach out to Smart Nation on us if you have any questions regarding your regarding healthcare. Okay, so to summarize key learnings today, right? I think there is 3 main sectors in Singapore: defense, education, and healthcare. All right. So defense usually is the first hand in taking the first step to, making their infrastructure stronger, making their infrastructure more seamless. But right now, it's at the stage whereby healthcare sector has to do that as well. So what is stating here is there is an overdue digital transformation in healthcare taking place, and only by having a rigid IT infrastructure will then we be able to reduce mainly human errors, improve clinical outcomes, facilitate care coordination, and improving practice efficiencies and tracking data over time. So I give you an example. Given today's context, when patients go into a hospital, they are tracked from the first day that they go into the hospital and the last day they come out. In between, what has been done, that has to be tracked as well. Because by doing that, we can then know what exactly the patient is going through, by providing efficient and effective patient health care. I mean, that is what we want to happen in the next few years, so that will be able to control costs and, of course, be more cost friendly to the patients. All right. So with that, IoT technologies will help to reduce healthcare costs. Big data and AI proved to be effective in global pandemics because of the data. All right. So maybe I have some time. Maybe I share a case study. Usually for clinical, for life science companies that's doing clinical trials. For example, whether is it to trial a drug, COVID-19 drug, or is it other drugs? There are 4 phases to it. So the very first phase is whereby it's tested on a small group of people, 30 to 50 people, all right? And then it comes on to the phase 2. If it passes phase 1, there is a bit larger group of people to about 100 to 200 people, all right? So most drugs development do not make it after phase 2, right? So if they do make it, it'll be phase 3. Phase 3 is where they test about a large group of people, which is about maybe 500 people in the region. And usually this has to be tested every region, right? Because Asian has Asian DNA, Eurasian has Eurasian DNA. So what is sold in the Asian might not work as effectively in the Europe region, right? So with this, that's why there's so many testings going on. And then it will move on to phase 4, which is post-marketing and the drug manufacturing. So usually these 4 phases will take about 9 months to a year with all the clinical trials, clinical data going on, right? So this is just for your information on how clinical trials work. So just to give you an example, right? A drug that's developing, right, will not be ended up being that drug. For example, Viagra, right? You guys have heard. Previously, it was actually meant to take care of certain, the whole meaning of the Viagra drug was to work on cancer. But through clinical trials, it has other side effects. And with that, it came out as Viagra, right? So that is a very interesting part of how clinical trials and drugs work, right? So all this, just to share with you, I think definitely government will have invest millions in digital technologies to improve the health outcomes and what we can do for the entire population of Singapore, right? With that, yeah, I have actually no more slides. I'm actually pretty fast. So I just want to see if we have any questions, Q&A from the attendees.
Currently we don't, but maybe we can give them some time.
Yeah. Just take your time to share what you want to ask. So maybe Nicholas, while they're thinking, maybe I ask you, do you have any curious questions about healthcare? Have you taken a jab?
No.
Yeah.
Not yet,
okay,
I'm too young.
Okay, too young. That's a good thing, right? So just to keep it very casual, I think we at the 20 and 30s will be the last taking the vaccine because we must be comforted that we are the stronger ones. That's why government put us in the last sector, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Any questions from anyone?
Jason, I think we have one question.
Okay.
Is it possible for somebody outside healthcare to join this industry in the future?
Yes. Okay. Let me answer this question. So for me, I was previously outside of healthcare and I joined healthcare afterwards. How do I actually do it? Because there is always two sides of things, right? Healthcare knowing healthcare and as well as the technology side of things. So I'm not sure which industry you are because maybe you can share what industry you're currently at. If you are a technology person, for me, it's definitely no issues to join healthcare. For example, right? Previously, this person is doing more of a Salesforce applications, but because certain healthcare industries, they are using Salesforce or they're using Salesforce Marketing Cloud, right? So this is actually something that is not related to healthcare, but you understanding the application will help the client manage their data, manage their application, and you will slowly learn about healthcare. This is actually how you transit, right? If you want to join into the industry in the future. I hope that answers the question. If you want me to share more, you can share what industry you are and I can give better advices. I saw the next question is, can we explain virtual visit better patients? Can explain, can explain virtual visit better? Patients doctor experience. Okay, so right now, right, I believe you guys are aware of this teleconsultation that's going on. I think a lot of clinics are implementing that. I've seen one myself, and also with that, right, they also do encourage people right now to do health screening at their comfort of their own home, right? So for some clinics, right, they after some teleconsultation, if they think they should come down, they will go down to your place to do the health screening or further consultation, right? So I think with that, it will really help because nowadays we just want to stay at home to be safe. I hope that answers your question, William. Okay, the next question we saw.
We have another one, Jason. Referring to the use of AR just now, were there data collected on patients' feedback on its usage? Whether they found it helpful or they prefer it to be conducted in real life without tech?
All right, so this one is something that is using Oracle Lens or Google Glasses, right? From what I understand, patients' feedback on whether they can sleep well. I guess online they did say and state that about 60% of patients found that it's really useful. But of course, there are patients who don't find it useful. It's because they don't appreciate wearing the devices on their head when they are sleeping, right? So that happens as well. So I foresee that the technology companies might make it, more minimalist in terms of the devices, make it smaller so that it's able to be wearable without any hindrance to your sleeping posture, right? So I think this will have a very long way to improve, but definitely they'll make it something smaller for patients to be able to accept, for their own use.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Jason. We have a few more questions, I think similar questions from Audrey and Enoch. I think essentially they want to know what is the first step that they can take if they want to move into this healthcare industry that is increasingly more digital. Any recommendations from you?
Okay, so it really depends on which skill you want to hone your skills with, right? So basically there is coding, there is account management. That's what I'm doing. I prefer to talk to people. So I mean, maybe you can be more specific into what you want to go into in the healthcare, because healthcare is very big, right? Don't think of it as healthcare is just healthcare. Healthcare has IT side of things. There has data analytics, all right, whereby they analyze the data, whether is it from their suppliers or their vendors, to see which drug sells the best, and automate it such that those people, the distributors, can get the drugs from the manufacturer in time. There is also a healthcare sector whereby it's in the hospitals, right? So let's say today, I understand that there's a certain hospital in Singapore that has about 3 to 4 hospitals, but they are using different electronic medical records, right? So they are using different software. And for example, today I'm going to this hospital, for example, Kutepa Hospital. My name is Jason Bo, all right? But I do go to another hospital and my name is just Bo. This happens. So with this data, we need to sync into a single source of patient data. I think that is what the hospitals are moving towards, right? So that they don't have duplicate patient records, and with non-duplicated patient records, they can have clearer history of medical records and provide more efficient and more precise healthcare. So in this point of what I'm saying right now is that if you go into a hospital, for example, I would say IHIS or even GovTech, and you want to go in and help them, improve their electronic medical record system, then you need to hone your skills on basically read up on the electronic medical records application softwares. All right, so it's a huge gameplay in healthcare. You can go basically anywhere, and this from any other industries as well. Yeah.
I think I have one personal question just to follow up with Jason. I think that many people would naturally be skeptical about tech being used in something as important as healthcare. Right? What would you say to people who are very cautious and maybe even not looking forward to technology being used so much, and then maybe they feel that we are less reliant on human capability, and what would you say to that?
Okay, I would say that human will still be in the intervention of our health in the healthcare sector. Why? But the thing is, a lot of healthcare sector are still very traditional and very conservative. So I would say some nurses are still doing things in a very routine way. For example, a lot of paperwork. I think paperwork is so-called, if you ask me, is a bit waste of time. Those nurses can spend more time with the patients, and technology is not to stop nurses and doctors interacting with patients, but rather for them to focus on the patients and give proper care and avoid doing too much paperwork. And some doctors can work 24 hours in the emergency sector, right? And with this going on, there might be human errors. So what we are doing here in the technology side of things is to prevent that from happening, right? We automate certain things. We improve certain applications. So for example, today, if you key in a patient illnesses and the system detects that the keying is wrong, they will notify the doctor, and that will prevent that will help prevent further further errors lah. So for me, I always think that technology is not to stop human interaction. It's in fact to improve human interaction so that we can get better care.
Thanks. I think the essence is that tech is not here to replace, but more as an enabler, right?
Correct.
To enable better, to add on to our human capabilities. We have one more question. How accurate, safe, and successful are surgical operations which span across continents using robotic technologies?
Okay, so this question is a good question, right? So the 5G rollout is still on its way in Singapore. So for Singapore statistics, I do not have yet. But what I can say, as per my understanding from other countries, right, in small towns where 5G is very reliable and capable, They did went through some clinical trials on this to test it on animals, and with the robotic hands that's connected to 5G, it is very accurate, right? So for example, if you guys definitely see Marvel, right, you can see Tony Stark putting the stones into the glove in the laboratory box. That is very accurate because it's not just human, but rather I think in the future robotics will have their own X-ray view, and if they detect that you are touching the wrong thing, they might even notify you, and it's for you to override whether the robot is wrong or not, right? So I would say it's like two hits better than one in a surgery in the future, right? So, but that is given that 5G rolls out very stably and successfully in the country. Yeah.
Oh, we have another one.
Yep.
After a drug/vaccine, for example, the COVID vaccine, goes through the 4 phases of clinical trials that you mentioned, and is released to the market through retail sales, do the vaccine companies still track the progress of people who had taken the vaccine? This is in concern of any long-term side effects that the drug may pose.
Sure. Good question. So we have a pharmacovigilance team in Singapore. It belongs to the Health Science Authority, Health Science HSA. So they don't whatever you are taking today, right? They can't track, right? Because you're eating at your own home. But if you don't feel well after taking medicine, what we will do is you go back to the pharmacist or you go back to the doctor. Okay, what will happen then is they will have to, it's a compliance and must for those doctors and pharmacists to inform HSA and the pharmacovigilance team that this certain patient has a side effect, or a side effect basically has to be documented in the HSA book of records, right? So they don't really track individual, but if you have in short, if you have any problems eating the drug or vaccine, let the doctor know, and they will definitely inform the authorities. This is how we track it in the nationwide. Yeah. Okay, what if the person is not able to pinpoint back to the specific drug vaccine? For me, my understanding is when you eat a drug or vaccine, your side effect will happen in the next 24 hours. All right, whether you have diarrhea outside, right, or you have very heavy fever. So what you should do, right, is you tell the doctor what has happened the past 24 hours. We don't talk about 2 days, but for last 24 hours, I'm sure you should remember what you have taken, right? So if you ask me, if you're a forgetful person, if you are eating a medication, just write a note in your phone saying you taken this drug or medication, right? Take a photo of it. Yeah, that's what I do when I'm taking my first medication that I've never eaten before from the doctor, right? So things will normally happen within 24 hours for new drugs and vaccine. I hope that answers the question.
Another interesting question from Shyam. Singapore is an aging population, right? So how do we get them on board? Not everyone has a smartphone or Wi-Fi plan. So how do we get them to comprehend and I guess be open, not so resistant to the integration of artificial intelligence to help them get better?
Okay. Yeah, you're right. So a lot of uncle, auntie, ama, akong, they don't really like to use mobile phone, right? They are using some 2G phones, but 2G will also phase out already. Right now, minimum is 3G. So how we actually help them? Government, for example, did that by using a trace together device, right? So as of you guys know, right now a lot of people are using the trace together device. But as for other data, for example, per my understanding, right, there is this device whereby a lot of uncles, aunties, they will forget taking their medication when they are released back from the hospital to their home. So there is this device that doctors and nurses can actually give them or put it under their bed, right, to remind them of certain hours, to remind them to take their medication, right? So I don't think this is widespread in Singapore yet. But in the future, in the near future, I would say, because I understand I worked with the IT team in Singapore before, that they are planning to implement this, right? Because a lot of old folks, they don't like to stay in hospitals. So we want to release them ASAP to let them go home and rest. But with this device, we will remind them to eat their medication on time, right? It's not related to smartphone. This is like a, I would say, reminding chime kind of device to stick to them, right? So this is one of the things that I see the government is doing to help the old folks in Singapore. But you're right, I think we can definitely do more for the aging population. Yeah.
Thank you, Jason. I will take over the screen now to show the feedback survey
Sure.
for our participants. Okay, so everyone, thank you so much for your questions. This is the short feedback form that you can help us to fill up, telling us what you liked about the session or how we can improve. It will be very useful for us. You can just scan the QR code or you can go to the URL go.gov.sg/SNT feedback, and you can follow the steps accordingly. If you still have questions, keep them coming in. I believe Jason will be able to see your questions now. We'll just maybe take 1 to 2 minutes for this. Okay. Also, we would like to inform you that you can actually join our Smart Nation Ambassador Telegram channel. This will give you a lot of the most recent, most updated information, updates on our events, workshops, or SNT sessions such as this one. You can scan the QR code as well and be a part of this Telegram channel. And upcoming, we actually have another session on the 17th of June, next Thursday, from 12 to 1, and it's also by Cognizant, and it is about digital technologies in retail. So today we had healthcare, next week we will have retail, and I'm sure you can guess from the title that it's all about how technology, especially during this time, has been increasingly integrated into our retail space, which I believe affects all of us in our own lives. Again, you can scan the QR code to register for this, and we hope to see you there. Okay, so thank you so much to Jason for your very informative sharing. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today during your lunchtime. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. I hope we hope you could take away something from this sharing. So thank you so much for your time, and stay tuned for our future events as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicholas.